We're happy when they do arrive, and we were going to start the process therefore a little bit earlier and quicker, and we'll catch back up with some of the things that we were talking about doing. I wanted to introduce Pastor Rob Weinstein, Dr. Reverend Rob Weinstein of the M25 Coalition in Bethany Grace Church in Richmond. So I want to welcome you here today and thank you for the opportunity to speak and to address all of you. Richard told me I need to be quick. He told me I had to be quick before, and now I really need to be quick. So I'm going to keep my, if it's all right with Richard, my introductory remarks brief, let the Congressman speak, and then I'll finish up my remarks there because I want to really thank the Congressman for taking time out of his busy schedule to address us and to see how important the housing issue is to New Jersey. Within the 2nd Congressional District, let me just inform all of you, 28% of our district is made up of renters. And out of those renters, over a third of those renters pay more than 50% of their income toward housing. Now, what we've seen throughout is that the Congressman has been a firm supporter of our district and of those housing issues. And he has a meeting coming up, so I want to actually defer to him, and then I'll finish up. So, Congressman LoBiondo, thank you very much.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you all for being here. Thank you for the invitation to join you. And thanks to Robin for being very persistent in your request to come. It is always really important when we have constituents, citizens, who come into Washington, because a lot of what we do has a bill number on it. It either has an S number for the Senate or an HR number for the House of Representatives. But it doesn't tell the human story. It doesn't put a human face on the problem. And that's where your being here makes a tremendous difference, because it helps reinforce for members like me what this is all about. And Robin is correct with the housing numbers. I just recently saw a special on this, and it's one of the top problem areas that doesn't get much attention at all. And the 2nd Congressional District in New Jersey, while there are 12 of us from New Jersey, the 2nd Congressional District is about 40% of the state geographically. And we're really challenged with the poverty issues. We're really challenged with a lot of the issues that you're here about. We have the unfortunate, dubious distinction of having the highest foreclosure rate in all of the United States of America. So that further adds to the problem. So when we're talking about these budget issues, for me, it boils down to what does it mean to real people? What does it mean that we do to make sure that we can do everything possible for housing? What do we do to make sure we keep up the SNAP program, the food nutrition programs, the children's programs? Because these are the things that are making a difference in this very complicated society. So I will continue to do my best to advocate on your behalf and behalf of the citizens of the 2nd Congressional District. And I especially want to thank Robin again for being so proactive in making sure that your issues, the issues that you're here, most important to you, are first and forefront for me. So I hope the rest of your day goes well. Thank you for having me.
If you're a member of the 2nd Congressional District, a constituent, would you please come forward so we can get a group picture? I can't find you. Well, good afternoon again. Good afternoon. Come on, I'm a preacher. I need a little bit more from you. Good afternoon. There you go. New Jersey's like the United States Capitol, right? There you go. It is an honor to be here today to speak on behalf of the homeless, the hungry, the disabled, and the poor of the New Jersey 2nd Congressional District. There is no greater responsibility than we have to show up, to stand up, and to speak up for those who have been forgotten or disregarded by the policymakers and the power brokers of our political system. The sacred text of every religion, affirms our responsibility to the poor and oppressed. And every fiber of our humanity speaks to the unwritten commandment that we are to leave this world better than we received it ourselves. In my faith tradition, the prophet Isaiah lays out God's commands concerning the vulnerable in society. He says, "Is not this the kind of fasting I have chosen? To loose the chains of injustice, to untie the cords of the yoke, to set the oppressed free and break every yoke? Is it not to share your food with the hungry and to provide the poor wanderer with shelter? When you see the naked, to clothe them, and to not turn away from your own flesh and blood. If you do away with the yoke of oppression and with the pointing finger and malicious talk," we need an amen to that. Amen. "And if you spend yourselves in behalf of the hungry and satisfy the needs of the oppressed, then your light will rise in the darkness and your night will become like the noonday." As one who grew up in the third poorest city in New Jersey, within the poorest county in the state, and who now serves as a pastor in that same community, I have personally witnessed the daily struggles of our poorest brothers and sisters. And as a recovering government bureaucrat myself, I'm on medication, but I'm getting there. I am consistently amazed at the brokenness and ineffectiveness of our nation's social safety net programs, which many times create additional burdens to those who are already in crisis. And as a professor at a college teaching business, you know, everybody wants to talk about business skills. Well, I kind of do that as a living. And a social scientist, I'm keenly aware that many times the best fiscal policies that our nation can implement are also the most righteous ones. Responsible, thoughtful, compassionate public policy protects the most vulnerable and makes investments in our nation's most valuable resource, we the people. I've heard that we need to make America great again. You might have heard that. I agree, actually, that it doesn't seem so great these days. It certainly isn't great for the nearly 19 million low-income U.S. households who pay over half of their income in housing. It's not great for the 500,000 men and women and children who are homeless. A quarter of that number are children. It's certainly not great for the 32 million Americans who stand to lose their health insurance with the repeal of the Affordable Care Act. So, how do we become great again? Well, it's important to recognize that our greatness was never found in our military or our political institutions, but in our collective aspirations toward a more perfect union, where every person, regardless of race, class, gender, or sexuality, disability, can attain their God-given potential. We need an American government as great as its people, the people that it represents, and that honors the legacy of those who have shed their blood and sacrificed for our freedom. You know, when I used to come to Washington, I marveled at the great big grand buildings, rooms such as this, and it inspired almost a sense of greatness there. However, I have worked alongside of countless volunteers who have given up their comforts to make life a little bit better for someone else. And it's there that I have truly discovered what's great about America. Greatness is found in the single mom who, after working all day and putting her kids to bed, makes lunch to give away to the homeless person at the street corner. That's what's great about America. The greatness of America is, as it always has been, found in the goodness of its people. I've seen that greatness shine through the most unexpected people in the most unexpected ways. And I see that greatness shining here today in this room. You know, the French political scientist Alexis de Tocqueville stated about his observation of the American experience that America is great because she's good. And if America ceases to be good, she will cease to be great. Goodness requires that we recognize that we are all truly in this together and that we are our brother and sister's keeper. That's an amen.
Amen.
Some in our government, well, I think they've kind of forgotten and lost sight of what it really means to be great. And so I have some questions for you. Is it great to take away health care from millions of Americans?
No!
Is it great when individuals and families don't have access to good jobs and affordable housing?
No!
Is it great to slash safety net programs while giving tax breaks to the wealthy?
No!
And is it great that we are #1 in the world in the number of incarcerated citizens per capita?
No!
So, absolutely disgraceful. Indeed, the decisions of many policymakers are not good, nor are they great. We need a government that's kind, good, and smart. That's what we need to bring back. Government should be a place where we all can come together to help each other in our lives, because we know that it's not only the right thing to do, but we're all actually in it together. Our nation was founded upon a simple and yet profound concept that all people are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Among them are the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This declaration has profound implications. For these rights to be fully realized, it requires that every person have gainful employment, affordable housing, education, food, and health care. Our failure as a society to not provide these essentials for living is a choice. And I always remind my congregation and my students, choices always have consequences. In the vile, shallow, and ridiculous public discourse of our day, we have forgotten the values and the hope that truly makes America great. Under the guise of fiscal responsibility, the President and Congressional leadership are attempting to balance the budget on the backs of the poor, giving tax breaks to the wealthy while ignoring the injustices that are morally and fiscally bankrupting this nation. We are all witnessing the political gamesmanship that's happening right now on the Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare. Now, we got to hear from Congressman LoBiondo. I'm grateful for his opposition to the current repeal and replace measure. Because they will devastate the vulnerable who rely on these Medicaid expansions. But true leadership requires not only to stand against something, but to put something forward. And we need to repair and expand Obamacare so that everyone has good health care. It should not matter if it's Trump care or Obamacare. I don't care. I just want health care. Health care is an important issue morally, ethically, but also fiscally. And if you're going to have health care, we need to declare that health care is a human right, and so is housing. Yeah. Housing is a human right. Because for people to be healthy, they need a place to call home. The effects of this homelessness are harming so many people and harming our budgets. But the good and the sad news is that they're going after more with the House budget bill that was released from committee. It only provides flat funding for homeless assistance, while also putting an additional 140,000 households at the risk of homelessness. Now let me tell you something real quick. I see Richard's behind me. I'm going to wrap it up before he takes me out. But I'm going to tell you something real quick. It's real easy to do some math here, how we can solve this problem, because I don't believe in just talking about the problem, but we got to talk about the solution. So here's one idea. You know, I told you we lead the world in the number of incarcerated citizens per capita, right? We have over 2 million people locked up. You know, according to the Brennan Center up in New York, they said that 39% of those people could be released because they're non-violent offenders or they've already served their time. You know how much that would save? $20 billion. You know what we could use with that $20 billion? You know how much it takes to end homelessness? Roughly about $20 billion. So I just solved homelessness and our incarceration issue all in one. But my 6th grade teacher reminded me, can't means you won't, and won't means you're lazy. We can change a system that's rigged against the poor and the working class. We can feed the poor and shelter our neighbors and care for our sick. How many times in our great history have we overcome the seemingly insurmountable odds against us. We have done it before and we can do it again. Let us all together become, in the words of the prophet Isaiah, the repairer of broken walls and the restorer of streets with dwellings. Let's not just restore the housing voucher program, but let's make it so that everyone has a place to call home. Everyone has health care, everyone has education, and everyone has food on their table.
We have one quick speech by Don Campbell, and then we do have Congressman Pasquarello here, but I wanted to try to keep ourselves in order as best as we can. So Don is with Artemis Center, and he wants to talk briefly, and he wanted to talk when the Congressman was here. He knows Congressman LoBiondo. He wanted to talk about why it is so important to have a place to call home, and it's made a difference to him.
Hello, everybody. Hi, my name is Donald. I'm from the Artemis Center for Independent Living. We're a nonprofit that helps disabled people. I'm the director. And I just wanted to, I'm here today because I want to talk about this budget and these housing cuts and these Medicaid cuts. And I think it's so important to understand that the people who push these cuts, they often talk about things like personal responsibility. Like the necessary to get a job and to pay taxes and all those wonderful things, you know, all that wonderful language, but they must understand that in order to do that, you need the resources to do that. In order to do that, you need a house to call your own, a home to call your own so you can get a job. In order to do that, you need Medicaid, which provides services specifically for the disabled people, like home health care, wheelchairs, stuff like that, so they can get a job and be in the community and become a director of a great place like Artemis. You need Medicaid and health insurance. You know, Medicaid expansion has been so great, not only for compassionate reasons, but now people can work more and not have to worry about losing their health insurance. So they're not disincentivized from working. So I would encourage you, we all got our friends who maybe don't agree with us politically. I speak fluent Republican because I got a lot of family members that I love very much who are sometimes wrong about things. But I ask them all the time, I'm like, I'm with you. I believe in personal responsibility, but you need to give people resources to do it. I believe in pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, but you need to give people boots so they can do it. I don't tolerate excuses from people, but you cannot expect a person with a disability to work if they're worried about losing their health insurance. Do not create this expectation that people don't meet. Tell people that yes, we will tax people a little bit more, and we will give other people resources so they can join our society, pay taxes, work hard, and contribute to our society. So I tell you, this isn't just an insult to quote-unquote liberal values, but if you look at it, it's an insult to conservative values. It is an insult to American values. So don't get stuck in partisanship. Go to your friend who maybe is a little, leans a little to the right and tell them, this is an insult to your values too. That's why you see so many governors who are Republicans saying these Medicaid cuts will not work for us because they're on the front lines of things like the opioid crisis. They know what people with disabilities need. They don't have time for just sitting around and theorizing in a Capitol like so many of our Congress people do without thinking of the real life consequences. So if you're with me and you believe in personal responsibility, you have to oppose this budget. You have to oppose the ACA. Make something of yourself. Don't create a society where people are disincentivized to try, because then you'll end up with exactly what a lot of people pushing this budget claim they do not want. So that is my spiel, and that is my speech, and go forward and keep fighting no matter what happens healthcare bill or these budget cuts, the fight is never over. You keep fighting and you keep showing up and you keep pressing. Because people like me, and there are a lot of people who have a lot of other disabilities that need these resources, and people need homes and they need these resources. They need to continue to show up. Thank you.